This is acceptable only in price figures. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven from X Kurugani Studio today with another Nikke figure review, and this is also a figure brand that I am reviewing for the first time. Luminous Box, one of those upcoming Chinese figure brands that are giving us good value for money, premium scale figures around the 20,000 yen plus price range. This is one of those figures, and we shall check out what the quality is like in today's review. When I buy a figure from a brand that I am unfamiliar with, I am going to be a cheapskate. I'm going to find the best deal I can just in case the figure turns out to be a big disaster. So I got her at a big discount. The official price in Japan is around 22,000 yen or so, 23,000 yen. Meanwhile, I got her from China's Taobao at 705 Chinese yuan. That would be the equivalent of 16,500 Japanese yen after conversion. Yeah, at least that is the conversion rate currently at the time of recording this video. So that is a nice discount, 16,000 yen, hell yes. So if you want to get your anime figures cheaply from China, especially for Chinese brands, then you may need to use a proxy service in case you can't use Taobao for any reason. And that is where this channel's sponsor for today's review comes in, Superbuy. Superbuy is a proxy service for you to purchase anime figures directly from China's Taobao or any other Chinese website for the matter. You can go ahead to Taobao, search for the anime figures that you want, copy and paste the link over into their search engine, and you will be able to buy any anime figures from a Chinese seller really cheaply, sometimes below market price compared to a Japanese website. And you can always head to the Superbuy subreddit r/Superbuy to ask any questions, where they actually have a representative who will answer all of your questions. This service, this website has been around for 13, 14 years, I think. So they are extremely reliable, and I use their service myself. If you have not yet signed up for a Superbuy account, please do make use of my link down in the description below to sign up for one and start shopping for anime figures in China. Who knows what kind of deal you can get, right? Yeah. So thanks a lot to Superbuy for sponsoring today's scale figure review, and we shall get back to where I left off. What you're looking at over here is a Luminous Box 1/7 scale Goddess of Victory Nikke Rapunzel. She is going for 21,818 Japanese yen officially before taxes and shipping in Japan. In China, 1,150 Chinese yuan, but I got mine for 700 plus, as you can see, a big discount. And official release date was 5th of February, both in Japan and China. So about 3 months ago at the time of publishing this review, I think. So for the height of this figure, including the base all the way to the top of her head over here, this backpack is roughly the same height as her head, by the way, 23 centimeters. If you deduct the base, there will be 1 centimeters left. So 22 cm for a 1/7 scale may seem a bit short, but you know, her pose, she is slouching one side this way. And when I display her next to my other Nikke figures at 1/7, they are the same size. So if she was standing upright, maybe an additional 2 cm. So this is the right size for a 1/7 scale figure. This box over here is a non-windowed box and wrap around design like some of Good Smile's boxes lately. The materials are ordinary, just normal paper box, not the super tough type, but that is to be expected for a box of a figure that is priced around 20,000 yen or so. I'm not expecting something super high quality. Design is pretty nice, and in my case over here, there is a shiny authenticity sticker on top. So this box, I would give it 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Like just above average, but yeah, if the postman is pretty rough with your stuff, then this could still take a bit of damage. Speaking of the unboxing process, you may have noticed it. It was pretty obvious in my unboxing video a few weeks back, where her stuff fell out from her left hand, and that is not supposed to happen because her stuff is supposed to be glued into her hand permanently. You know, if this part was a separate part, then it would have its own compartment in the box, no, not together with the figure. So I was certain that the part was kinda broken, or at least the glue failed, and fortunately it is the latter. The glue simply failed. I can always glue it back, and as long as I do it carefully, it is not noticeable. So there is definitely a quality control issue not supposed to happen in the first place. Should the stuff be a separate part in the box rather than being glued to the figure, I'm not sure what is the correct answer. Because if you were to make it a separate part, then I would imagine that assembling it won't be easy because the size of the pack in the figure's hand would be very small, and sometimes a slight error in manufacturing would mean the stuff would not fit in her hand anymore, which was what happened to Apex Toys Hu Tao from Genshin Impact. So I'm not sure if fixed to the figure or separate would be better, but anyways, if they decide to glue the figure, then they should do it properly. If this happens to you and you want to glue it back, use a very small amount of glue, ideally with a brush. Do not drip super glue directly into the hole of a hand. You are going to create a lot of damage, right? If you put too much glue, the paint will start coming off as well, and then yeah, game over. Brush a very thin and even layer and press it back slowly. Press it back for 60 seconds and let it set for 24 hours before it reaches the full strength of the super glue. So that is one quality control issue over there, and I got extremely lucky in the sense that the stuff did not create any paint transfer on the figure. So this is the one thing that some resin figure collectors complain, how the quality of the figure is bad. Why are there paint transfer everywhere? And usually when you see paint transfer is accompanied by a broken part, that means that the paint transfer came from the broken part, which happened during shipping rather than in factory. When there is a part that is mobile in the box and that part is moving around as the figure is being shipped, then different parts clashing against each other, knocking against each other, that is enough to create a lot of damage when it comes to paint transfer. So in my case, I got really lucky that none of that happened for a broken part over here. And as for the stability of the figure, right? Yeah, this is really good because both of the feet are plugged into the base. The figure is not wobbly at all. Stability is a full 10 out of 10 for this figure, but the base is ugly, of course. Now moving on to the sculpting department, I'm very happy with it. At least the face looks identical to Rapunzel. The face is perfect. I couldn't have done it any better. And I checked for mold lines, for ugly gaps or seam lines, part fitting issues, none of that to be found. The sculpt department is pretty nice, and I could give the sculpt an easy 8 or even 8.5 out of 10 because there are virtually no flaws to be found on the main figure. Well, 8 out of 10, I guess. The others missing 0.5 was the dislodged stuff in her hand. The detail on her outfit and everything, I'm pretty happy about it. This is like science fiction and nun outfit at the same time. Pretty unique combination and I do like it. Face sculpt is an easy 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. But what about the paint work? Well, paint work fortunately is also pretty good. So I'm not seeing any paint transfer or any paint related issues like bleeding, paint bleeding, scratches and so on. Every single small detail are painted precisely, all the small details on the outfit everywhere. So even the gold paint over here, gold paint tend to be problematic. Some figures, their gold paint would start melting out even when the figure is brand new, stuff like that. None of that over here. So this figure's paintwork and sculpt, or rather the figure itself, the quality control is pretty good for a brand that I have no experience with and don't know what to expect. The paintwork, I can easily give it an 8.5 out of 10 as well, which is a very high score, right? As for weathering and shading, there is a slight bit of it. It is not very obvious, but in this figure's case, or rather this character's case, even with the lack of weathering, I think it is acceptable because this character's design is so detailed. So many like mecha-ish parts, science fiction parts around the figure, giving it extra detail. So even with the lack of weathering, like a very light touch of weathering, not very obvious ones, it looks fine. You can see a bit of it on her twin tails over here. Wait. No, not twin tail, ponytail. Can see a bit of the shading on the ponytail and also on this hood over here over her head. There is a bit of it over there, and the decal work is also impeccable. So overall, I'm actually happy with this figure despite the glue failing in her left hand over there. And speaking of the base of this figure, this is once again the weakest part of the figure and probably where they cut cost to keep the price of the figure down. This glossy black base is exactly what I don't want to see in any anime figure, regardless of the price point. Not even a Tenital or a pop-up red L. This is acceptable only in price figures. So this base feels cheap, looks cheap. It is a fingerprint magnet and it is also very easy to accidentally scratch. I would rather pay an additional 2000 yen to get something nicer rather than this gloss black base over here. And as for the support for this piece behind her, I'm not sure if there is a way to make it look more elegant. This is a bit ugly, this plastic rod over here. But understandably, if you were to ask me, Dan, do you have any better ideas? I'm sorry, I myself don't have any better ideas either. So maybe there's a way to design a nicer support rod, but this base over here, I can only give it a 5 out of 10 maximum. And the reason why the score is not any lower than this is because the foot support is excellent, right? The figure is rock solid, does not wobble at all. As for the conclusion of today's figure review, this Rapunzel over here, can I recommend it? It is still a yes. Of course, this glue feeling in her hands is once again the kind of quality control issue that is random. Some units may have the problem, some may not have it. Who knows, maybe mine is cheap because of the issue and the seller knew about it. Maybe that is the case, right? And the seller was not honest about it. I don't know, I'm just guessing over here. But now that I get to see what a figure made by Luminous Box is like, I'm pretty optimistic about this brand giving us good quality figures. I just got unlucky with the stuff over here. And my other major complaint is the cheap base. So that is basically it. If you look at the big picture, what matters the most? 3 things. Number 1, the face. Number 2, the sculpt. Number 3, the paintwork. All 3 of these, 0 issues other than the glue issue, obviously. So Luminous Box is a brand that maybe we should keep an eye on going forward. Their stuff are worth getting, yes. And speaking of the paintwork being precise and accurate, it is not just the figure but also the backpack. Every single weapon ports over here, they are all precisely painted. So in the end, if I look at the positives and compare it to the negatives, the positives still outweigh the negatives. And for that reason, I can still recommend this Rapunzel figure. But over in Japan currently, regardless of which Japanese site I look at, be it Amazon Japan or Ami or elsewhere, the price of this Rapunzel figure is not exactly dropping. It is roughly the 20,000 yen price range, 21K, not going up, not going down compared to the official MSRP. My take on this figure is that if you can get her slightly cheaper like I did, then it is worth getting. But for the full MSRP price of 22 or 23,000 yen including taxes, not sure if it is worth it, but maybe it is just me being a cheapskate again. Yeah. So until then, I hope that you found this review to be helpful and informative, and if it is, please to give this review a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. And until then, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.